Hello, it's Stephen here. As promised, here is my short video guide to the Geminids meteor shower, which is going to peak on Tuesday, the 13th of December into the small hours of Wednesday morning. And I've currently set my astronomy app to 7 p.m. on Tuesday evening. So let's start here. And the main kind of bright object in the east you're going to see around this time is the planet Mars. So I've been talking a lot about Mars recently. It has recently passed opposition. It's incredibly bright, and Mars is currently sitting just above the constellation Taurus at the moment. So here we can see it's to the left of the lovely Hyades star cluster, and the Pleiades is also close by. So even if you're going out and you don't see shooting stars, what fantastic binocular targets you've got here. Two lovely open star clusters to appreciate. And of course, below Mars and below Taurus, Orion is starting to rise at round about this time of 7 p.m. Now, to find the radiant of the Geminids, we just scan to the left of Mars and we see the constellation Gemini, where the Geminids derives its name from. And this is the direction in the sky that the meteors will originate from. But I cannot stress enough, you do not need to look directly in this direction to see shooting stars, because they will appear to come from all directions. The only reason I'm talking about the constellation Gemini is that its altitude in the sky will determine the rates of shooting stars in respect of the Geminids themselves. So if Gemini is still below the horizon, you will not see any activity. And the higher Gemini is, the more activity. So you're probably not going to have any opportunity to see any Geminids until about 7 p.m. So there's my recommendation when to start observing. Now let's advance time and see what happens. So let's go to 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. and notice by 9 p.m. the moon is starting to rise in the northeast. Now that is unfortunately going to wash out some of the fainter shooting stars. So it's a little bit of a kind of balancing act here. You can go out from maybe 7 p.m. and you have a 2-hour interval when the moon is not going to be spoiling things. But from 9 p.m. the moon is unfortunately going to brighten the sky. That said, I would not let that put you off, because the Geminids can produce some very bright meteors. So let's go further forward in time to 10 p.m., 11 p.m. and into midnight on Tuesday. And ordinarily this would be a great time to go out, because look how high Gemini now is in the sky. That's going to indicate greater rates of shooting stars. But of course, the moon is also going to be high, and you'll have to contend with that. Now, if you're really hardcore, you might stay out even later, perhaps to 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And actually 3 a.m. would generally be the best time to see maximum rates. Notice here that Gemini is culminating in the south at this point, which means it's higher in the sky, and that will produce higher rates of shooting stars. But once again, you have the moon to contend with. So there we go. I hope that is useful. So in summary, my advice is from about 7 p.m. on Tuesday, head out and you may see some low skimming shooting stars from the Geminids. By 9 p.m. the moon will have risen, but still worth going out. Remember, try and find somewhere away from streetlights. Try and get out of town if you live in a city. Get somewhere dark, ideally. Make an evening of it and just really enjoy being out under the stars, assuming you have clear skies. So thank you very much for listening, and good luck.